News 3 Now. This is breaking news.
Good Monday afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us for Live at 4. We have breaking news first at 4. Two men accused in the 2020 fake elector scheme in Wisconsin will go to trial.
President Trump's former attorney, Jim Troupis, along with Trump's 2020 Election Day Operations Director, Mike Roman, face 11 felony charges, each for submitting false paperwork claiming Trump won Wisconsin and will go to trial. Former Trump attorney Kenneth Chesebro's hearing was postponed over a legal dispute about his previous statements to prosecutors. Wisconsin Attorney General Josh Kaul called it a routine part of litigation. Last week, a Dane County judge refused Troupis' request to recuse herself, saying he could fairly hear the case.
We will continue to bring you updates on the air and online at channel3000.com and on our news app. Just look up Channel 3000 wherever you get your apps for our free news app.
And in Milwaukee, opening statements were heard in the federal trial of Milwaukee County Circuit Judge Hannah Dugan. The case centers on accusations Dugan interfered with federal agents trying to arrest Eduardo Flores Ruiz in the courthouse. In their opening statements, prosecutors said Dugan went out of her way to interfere with routine federal agent actions. The defense said the exit that Dugan led Flores Ruiz through was near the main door that had federal agents on both sides. Right now, the jury is down to 13 people from 14 due to an illness.
Overnight, the Platteville School District says it fell victim to the threat of safety to students and staff. School was canceled in the district today after an apparent cyber swatting incident. This afternoon, police and the district found the threat to be non-credible. Initially, there was an online message shared with the district that included a bomb threat as a means of extortion. The district says its safety protocols were followed and additional measures were put in place. Administrators thanked a student who came forward with information about the threat and emphasized there is no ongoing danger.
Right now, a farm in Dodge County is quarantining its cattle after a bird flu outbreak.
Our Tanasia Shaw is covering what you should know about the virus. And Tanasia, we understand you spoke to the agency that's investigating this outbreak.
Yes. Hi, Susan and Brady. This is the first time officials found bird flu in cattle here in Wisconsin. Yesterday, the Department of Agriculture, Trade and Consumer Protection, better known as DATCP, announced they are working with the FDA, CDC, and other agencies to learn more about the outbreak in Dodge County. Here's what we know right now. There isn't any concern about dairy safety at the moment, and that's because of pasteurization. The CDC says the health risk for humans is low. For those that own cattle and poultry, DATCP says that everyone should be cautious right now.
Of cattle that are coming from different places, especially places where there have been detections, those could be higher risk factors, and there's some requirements in place for testing of individual animals to try to minimize the risks that animals coming in have this infection. So sort of looking at sources, minimizing movement of animals where possible, and putting precautions in place to isolate them for periods of time before bringing them into the rest of their herd would be some great starting points.
Dr. Elizabeth Patton also said that the signs that your cattle may have the bird flu is they're reducing their food intake and more. And I'll have more on that tonight at 6.
All right, Tanasia, we will see you at 6. Thank you. Well, after a dip into the North Pole over the weekend, temperatures are finally moderating just a little bit today. Still cold and slippery out there, Jacob, but better than it was over the weekend.
Yeah, the words for today are probably cold but better, as we're looking at the current temperatures right now in the lower 20s. Some areas still hanging on to the teens, but everyone pretty easily warmer than this time yesterday. Now, as we take a look at that temperature change, up near 15 to 20 degrees warmer than this time yesterday, and the wind chills throughout the day have actually been above zero versus the weekend where they were pretty much below zero even through the afternoon hours. So it definitely is still cold out there. I mean, the wind chills still in the lower 20s to teens, but certainly better than what we saw over the weekend. And the temperatures will continue to get better. As we take a look at the overnight lows, it's still going going to be cold, but compared to the lows this morning that were once again easily in the single digits, the teens to maybe some single digits out there, but not a lot of wind tonight, so that will be some pretty good news. And then as we get towards tomorrow, we're going to see those 20s today become 30s tomorrow, and we also will see a little bit more sunshine. So for the most part, we are going to see conditions a lot better. Now, obviously, highs in the 30s, still relatively on the cooler side, but after what we've been through, it's going to feel a lot better for sure. Now, I'll talk more in detail about our next chance of precipitation. Could be a little bit of rain and snow as temperatures will be warm enough. The details on that, though, coming up a bit later.
Thank you, Jacob. In Wisconsin sports, the Badger women's volleyball team is heading to the Final Four. This after knocking off Texas last night, a team that swept them in the regular season. Playing in Austin, Badgers started off strong, going on to win this match 3-1. Mimi Collier led the Badgers with 23 kills. Charlie Furbringer led with 57 assists. Badgers will face Kentucky Thursday at 8 p.m. in Kansas City. And it was a weekend of high-profile injuries in the NFL, from the Kansas City Chiefs to the Green Bay Packers.
Yep, in a loss for first place in the NFC North, the Packers also lost a star player due to an injury. News 3 Now's senior Packers writer Jason Wilde tells us about how long that injury could keep Micah Parsons off the field.
As the Packers feared, Micah Parsons' season is over. Their star pass rusher confirming the news with a social media post earlier today in which he says in part, "I may be sidelined, but I am not defeated. I will rise again." We'll have to wait and see when that resurrection occurs. Usually a 9 to 10 month recovery from a torn ACL like the one that Micah Parsons suffered in his left knee, with 55 seconds left in the Packers' loss in Denver on Sunday. His teammates, meanwhile, must move forward. They play on Saturday night at Soldier Field against the Chicago Bears, with the winner of that game taking over sole possession of first place in the NFC North. Packers quarterback Jordan Love saying after the game, there's still lots of work to do, with or without Parsons.
I think there's still so much more out in front of us that, it's just that mindset where we just got to stay together and, go into this next week, big game against the Bears in Chicago. So, everybody be ready for that, but we just got to get back to work and prepare this week and, get our bodies back. But we've been here before in these tough games where you just got to stay together and keep going.
We have more on Parsons on our website, channel3000.com, and we'll have more on how the Packers move forward without him later on. While you're at channel3000.com, make sure you sign up for our Packers newsletter, which delivers our coverage directly to your inbox every single day. In Green Bay, Jason Wilde, channel3000.com.
Thank you, Jason. I
That
noticed
was a tough one.
we both looked away
Yeah,
during
don't watch
that.
it.
I hope he recovers. Well, next on Live at 4, we learn even more about Wisconsin's case against the alleged architects of the 2020 fake electoral scheme.
And then Josh Spreiter is in the 608. Check this out. This is a family after my own heart. They bring Christmas decorations to a whole new level, and Josh will introduce us to them. We'll also learn about how a tradition of bonding with their kids turned into a major holiday destination.
And Wisconsin Attorney General Josh Kaul is joining a new lawsuit, this time challenging new $100,000 H-1B visa fees that he says could undermine research, innovation, and healthcare in Wisconsin.
And we're finally warming up a little bit after a weekend of brutally cold temperatures. We'll have the latest on the forecast. Jacob has an update coming up next.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4.
A family in the 608 is once again going all out in decorating for the holidays right in their very own front yard.
That's almost an understatement. Josh Spreiter visited the Harry family farm in Platteville this morning to learn the story behind the lights.
Well, we came down to Platteville dark and early to give you a little treat in the 608. We are all out in holiday season mode, and the Harry family has a very unique tradition that they are sharing with us today. Dan Harry is joining us today. Dan, good to see you.
Good morning, Josh.
So this is a fantastic display that you guys have been doing for how many years now?
15 years.
And when did this all start?
Well, it all started back when the kids were little and stuff. I made their names, and we couldn't really get out and do much, so I just started making their decorations. We brought it here, then kind of took after my grandma when she had passed. We kind of wanted to keep the spirit going, so
This is a family tradition. You can see the family behind you, and we've got Santa and Mrs. Claus joining us as well.
Yes, sir. Yep. They come down from the North Pole, so yep.
And Santa and Mrs. Claus are also out here on the weekends for families to visit with.
Yep, Friday and Saturday. They're here from 5:30 to 7:30. You can get your picture taken with them. We got a nice little shed behind us, all heated and stuff. We got the sleigh, and you have hot cocoa, and you get candy canes. It's really nice.
So you guys are kind of out in the middle of nowhere here, south of Platteville on Prairie Road. Do you get a lot of people that come out here?
Oh yeah. It gets pretty hectic. 50 to 70 cars a night. And last Christmas was really busy. We had to come in the back way to get in the lane. It was so neat. It looked like a highway coming in. It's really impressive to see that kind of joy.
You know, what keeps you going year after year? Because obviously this is probably a year-long project, making sure that this gets pulled off every year.
Yeah. What keeps me going is, like I said, spending time with your family is the most respectful and gratitude, because if you didn't have them, you wouldn't have, nothing. And then it's seeing the little kiddies smile on their faces, and it's what's nice. And parents coming by and elderly, they view it. They said reminds them of their childhood memories. That's what it's all about.
It's all that nostalgia, right?
Correct, sir. Yep.
And you talk about that family. It's those traditions, and there's a lot of folks that come back to visit this year after year.
Oh yeah. We had them come from Washington State. We had some from Florida, Chicago, Minnesota. Yeah, and then they come back and they have little kids. Or like the kids would say, "Mom, we're going back to see those lights again." So that's what it's all about.
So when can people come out and check it out, and how long are the lights up for?
You can come up. It's viewing from Monday through Sunday from now till January 1st, and the train runs Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 5:30 till 9. But the rest of the week, all the lights are on and everything, so you can come out and take a look. And if I'm out here, I'll hang candy canes out at night and talk to people and mingle and wish them Merry Christmas, and it's talk to them and see where everybody's from, and that's kind of what it's all about.
Well, hey, thank you so much for having us down. We appreciate it. We're having so much fun here today.
Yeah, thanks, Josh. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. And if you'd like to learn more about this display, again, they're located on Prairie Road here in Platteville. Just go to the story up on channel3000.com. In Platteville, I'm Josh Spreiter, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Josh. Dan, way to go. That is amazing. And if you're in a bad mood from the weather this weekend, you can't be when you drive by something like that. But luckily, Jacob, slowly but surely, we're getting out of the deep freeze this week.
Yeah, as we take a look at the three things you need to know, the temperatures are going to be trending a little bit warmer. Now, our next chance of precipitation will be Wednesday night into Thursday for the middle of the week, where we are going to see a rain-snow mix. But for the most part, no big snowfalls are in the forecast. And after that, other than that one chance of rain and snow, we're really not going to see much going forward. Now, let's take a look at the precipitation chances this week. Looking very dry for the next couple days, maybe some light precipitation tomorrow evening. But for the most part, it will stay mostly dry. A little bit more sunshine for Wednesday. Then as we get towards late Wednesday night into Thursday, we'll see that rain move into our area, continuing Thursday morning. And then as the rain clears out, the temperatures are going to cool down throughout the day. And so we could see some snow on the back end of this system. However, right now we are not expecting much of any accumulation, and this will all clear out by Friday. And Friday will be a brief cool down before we do see the temperatures warm back up for the weekend. So looking at just overall all the precipitation chances, again, Wednesday night into Thursday, we are going to likely see that rainfall, although it is likely, we're probably not going to see anything too massive. But with the colder temperatures Friday, some of that rain could freeze over. But beyond that, I don't expect to see major travel impacts. But not going to see anything until then, and we're not expected to see much afterwards. Just a few small chances of precipitation here and there. But as we take a look at the high temperatures over the next 10 days, like I mentioned, we are going to see a little bit of that cool down for Friday after that system clears out, where highs will only be in the teens. But for the most part, there's going to be a lot of highs in the 30s going forward. And the average high for this time of year is in the lower 30s. So these will be near to slightly above average. And that looks to continue for Christmas. Now, looking a little bit further ahead towards Saturday, where the Packers have a big game in Chicago. Here's a look at that forecast. Not going to be too cold at at all. Should be pretty dry in Chicago as well, with temperatures in the middle 30s. Now, like I mentioned, those warmer temperatures probably going to continue at least through Christmas, or at least those temperatures mostly near, if not slightly above average. There'll be warmer air to the south of us, especially in the south central United States, but a lot of the United States expected to see above average temperatures for this time frame, which does include Christmas and the few days after. So much quieter and much less winter-like going forward. It's still going to be cold on a day-to-day basis, but compared to the bitter cold we saw this weekend and the amount of snow we saw at the beginning of the month, we're not really going to see a lot of snowfall over the next 10 days, and we're not going to see a lot of bitter cold air.
All right, thank you, Jacob. Coming up on Live at 4, botulism in ByHeart formula may have been a problem for more than 3 years. We take a deeper look at a recall after 51 babies got sick.
And then a person of interest from Wisconsin has been released from custody in connection to that Brown University shooting. What police know now about who may be responsible.
And despite holdups on the federal level, state court cases are moving forward against some of those accused in the 2020 fake elector scheme.
And then it's been 4 years since the deadly attack on the Waukesha Christmas parade. We'll tell you how the community is remembering and memorializing those lost.
Look at the numbers on Wall Street today. A slight dip. The Dow has gone down 41 points. The Nasdaq lost 137. The S&P 500 is down nearly 11.
Well, the search continues tonight for the gunman who killed 2 students at Brown University on Saturday.
A person of interest was taken into custody, then released hours later. CBS's Jared Hill has details on that, plus what we know about the victims.
There's a growing memorial at Brown University for the students killed and injured in Saturday's shooting. Sophomore Ella Cook was vice president of Brown's College Republicans. From Birmingham, Alabama, Cook's church remembered her as someone who lifted up those around her.
She was an incredible, grounded, faithful, bright light.
Muhammad Aziz Amorzakov was a freshman with dreams of becoming a neurosurgeon.
Brown's grieving, I'm grieving. The loss of him would be felt throughout this community.
As the campus mourns, investigators are still searching for this person, seen walking calmly away from the scene. A forensics team scoured this dumpster on Monday, and officials are asking the public for any video.
Providence Police! Hands!
Brown University went on lockdown for hours after the shooting Saturday.
This is a physics experiment gone wrong. This is a wood shop. This is anything but this.
Student Sophia Holman was in the building when it started. She credits her high school safety drills for knowing what to do.
So I'm extremely grateful to the teachers who, made us listen during these drills. It really could have saved my life.
On Sunday, police had detained a person of interest, but said they later released them after evidence pointed in a different direction.
We're going to solve this case. I can't tell you what direction it's going to take right now, but we're going to solve it.
University officials canceled all remaining classes and exams for the semester. Jared Hill, CBS News.
A law enforcement official told the Associated Press the shooter fired more than 40 rounds from a 9mm handgun.
Americans of all faiths are joining people around the world who are mourning people who were killed at the mass shooting at a Hanukkah celebration in Sydney, Australia. A rabbi lit the second candle of the menorah at Sydney's Bondi Beach 1 day after a father and son shot and killed 15 and injured dozens more in a targeted attack. President Trump reflected on the attack and praised Ahmed Al-Ahmed, a bystander who risked his own life to wrestle a rifle away from one of the gunmen. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has pledged to call for strong, decisive gun law reform in the wake of this shooting. Well, the Pentagon says 2 Iowa National Guard members identified as 29-year-old Sergeant William Nathaniel Howard and 25-year-old Sergeant Edgar Brian Torres Tovar and a U.S. civilian interpreter were ambushed Saturday in the city of Palmyra, once occupied by ISIS. The attacker, who was killed by Syrian security forces, was a security guard suspected of having ties to the terror group. Some lawmakers are now questioning whether the U.S. military should have a presence in the region.
I think our troops have played an important role. We are working closely with, for example, the Kurds. We have literally tens of thousands of ISIS family members in certain prisons in that area.
But so you want that to continue?
But the president I think pulling out without a plan would be a mistake.
Syria has arrested 5 people suspected of having links to the shooting. Around 1,000 U.S. troops are still stationed in Syria, working with local forces to break up the remains of ISIS.
An infant formula recall that sickened 51 babies is now being expanded.
Meg Oliver has more on how patients are wary, or parents rather, are wary about formula safety.
The FDA now says botulism in ByHeart formula may have been a problem since the company first started selling the organic product back in 2022.
This is just a bottle of formula made with only organic grass-fed whole milk.
After a recent review, the CDC tied 12 additional cases of the toxic bacteria to the company, bringing the total to 51, including Hannah Everett's infant daughter, Piper.
How terrifying was that?
You know, it's just really terrifying, and then of course you feel guilty because it's something you gave them, you know. So it was just a whirlwind of emotions, and not to mention the having to do the feeding tube and IVs. That was, I think that part was probably one of the worst out of all of it, you know, because
it's so hard to see your child in pain.
Botulism is a rare but serious illness caused by a toxin that attacks the body's nerves. It causes difficulty breathing, muscle paralysis, and can be fatal. Symptoms in infants can include constipation, poor feeding, and lack of facial expression. The antitoxin treatment works best if given as soon as symptoms occur.
Say hi.
After 5 days in the hospital, Piper is now doing better, but her mom is furious they haven't heard a word from the company.
A mix of honestly just kind of heartbroken and livid. You know, anything that goes through our food supply chain should be very heavily regulated. You know, you should take the utmost precautions. You know, these are infants.
The Everetts are one of at least 4 families who have filed a lawsuit against the company. ByHeart wouldn't go on camera, but told us they are cooperating with federal and state agencies to determine the cause. Parents should stop using all ByHeart formula immediately. Meg Oliver, CBS News, New York.
Wisconsin's Department of Health Services has identified 1 case of botulism tied to this outbreak. However, they have been discharged from the hospital after being treated and are now recovering.
Coming up on Live at 4, a cyber swatting event that prompted the Platteville School District to close has been deemed non-credible. What school staff members say about the closure and district safety.
And then the Packers take a major blow to their defense. Oh, this is a hard one to watch. We look at the loss to the Broncos and a defensive end that could be out for the season.
And Wisconsin is joining another multi-state lawsuit that's challenging $100,000 fees for H-1B visas, the case the coalition is making.
Plus, this week's weather may not require quite as many layers. Oh, that's a beautiful shot of the sun setting on this Monday afternoon. Look at how cold it is, though. It's still not mild. We wouldn't go that far, but it definitely feels better. And Jacob will have an update on the forecast coming up.
From News 3 Now, this is breaking news.
Well, the case against some of the former Trump aides accused in the fake electoral scheme in Wisconsin will now go to trial.
It was a plan to submit paperwork falsely claiming that Trump won Wisconsin in the 2020 presidential election. Our Ellie LaLiberte is here now with a breakdown of today's court proceedings. Ellie?
Well, Brady, Susan, prosecutors say that these are the 3 men that helped organize that fake electors plan 5 years ago. As of today, 2 are heading to trial, and the 2 are Jim Troupis, a former Trump attorney, along with Mike Roman, a former Trump aide. However, the former Trump attorney Kenneth Chesebro, his hearing was postponed today. Now, the move to delay comes after arguments about if statements Chesebro previously made to prosecutors can be used in court. All 3 men are facing 11 felony forgery charges for submitting false paperwork claiming that Trump won the Wisconsin election in 2020. Now, Attorney General Josh Kaul brought the charges forward in 2024. Here's his reaction to that postponed hearing.
There is always in the course of litigation issues that arise. There are times when different issues need to be addressed. There was a new issue raised today by the lawyers for one of the defendants, and so that issue will be addressed as we move forward. That's all part of the litigation process, is having issues arise, having processes in place for addressing them, and then ultimately having a judge rule on those disputes.
Now, today's hearing comes a week after former Trump attorney Jim Troupis unsuccessfully tried to have the judge on the case removed and move that case to another county. And notably, Wisconsin's case is moving forward even as election interference cases in Michigan and Georgia have stalled.
We will continue to follow it, Ellie. Thank you. To the weather now. Did you thaw out yet?
I stayed inside as long as I could over the weekend. Whew, it's cold out.
Yeah, it really was. I'm not quite sure what we're looking at here. A little plant blowing in the wind, maybe frozen solid, but the weather words for today, quieter going forward. The temperatures will be a little more moderate, but Jacob, we might lose some of our snow cover this week.
Yeah, as temperatures warm up, they could and actually pretty likely going to get above freezing at some points, and there's not going to be a lot of additional snow to replace it. So I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but first, here's a look at the actual temperatures. A lot better compared to this time yesterday. Some areas still in the teens, but the lower 20s to teens are much warmer than the single digits we pretty much saw throughout the entire weekend. Temperature change from 24 hours ago, around 15 to 20 degrees warmer, and the wind chills are even warmer compared to 24 hours ago, as those wind chills are pretty much the exact same as the actual temperatures because we're not really seeing a lot of wind right now. And this afternoon has been the first time we saw the wind chills get above zero since Friday afternoon. It was a very cold weekend, but we're not expecting those temperatures to return anytime soon. Taking a look at the current radar, there is some very light precipitation in southwest Wisconsin. This is going to be the story for the next couple of days. Just some very small chances of some light rain, light freezing rain, light snow here and there, but nothing consistent until a little bit later in the week. And as we take a look at the overnight forecast, still going to be cold as lows are going to drop into the teens, but again, nothing is expected to get nearly as cold as it was over the weekend. If anything, it will continue to warm up. So I'll talk more about that and show you the next chance of precipitation coming up a bit later.
Thanks, Jacob. Overnight, the Platteville School District says it fell victim to the threat of safety to students and staff. School was canceled for the district today after the apparent cyber swatting incident. This afternoon, police and the district found that threat to be non-credible. Initially, there was an online message shared with the district that included a bomb threat as a means of extortion. The district says their safety protocols were followed and additional measures were put into place. Administrators thanked a student who came forward with the information about the threat and emphasized there is no ongoing danger. In a move that joins several dozen others, Wisconsin Attorney General Josh Kaul and a coalition of 19 other states are suing the Trump administration over its $100,000 fee on new H-1B visa petitions. Kaul, along with the other state attorneys general, say the fees could undermine research, innovation, and health care in their states. The lawsuit alleges this policy violates law because it imposes a fee outside what Congress authorizes, bypassing rulemaking procedures, and exceeds executive branch authority. The Trump administration announced in September it would be implementing this fee, citing the program is overused.
The Dodge County Sheriff's Office says a woman has died after a 3-vehicle crash near the town of Leroy. Deputies said the 48-year-old Brookfield woman's SUV lost control on State Highway 49, crossed the center line, and collided with an oncoming semi. The impact pushed her vehicle into another SUV. The woman died at the scene. The driver of the semi and the other motorist were hospitalized with non-life-threatening injuries.
A person is hurt after a crash yesterday morning. At about 6:20, Madison police responded to the area of East Washington near Independence Lane for the crash. First responders took an adult pedestrian to a local hospital with what police are calling significant injuries. A person was crossing the street outside of a crosswalk when they got hit by a driver. The driver is cooperating. Next on Live at 4, an A-list cast of celebrity stars in a new film that has fallen flat at the box office. And Will Loper talks about the success of Zootopia 2. That's ahead in the Loper Report.
Plus, a woman whose name literally means peace shares how she's using her talents to remember those lost in the Waukesha Christmas Parade tragedy and to build hope in her community.
And a new group of influencers is bringing a different age demographic to TikTok. We'll show you silver influencers.
And then things are a little warmer this week, but rain and maybe even a little bit of snow make their way back to the area. Jacob will tell us where and when in the first warm forecast.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4, moving forward.
Last Sunday, thousands gathered in downtown Waukesha in a holiday season celebration and a remembrance.
The 62nd annual Waukesha Christmas Parade featured floats, marching bands, and a lantern walk honoring the 6 people who were killed in the 2021 parade tragedy.
Catherine Merck takes us behind the scenes of this art piece for peace.
Despite the noise of her workspace, artist Carmen de la Paz's name translates to "of the peace."
And I live my last name, you know, and I want my work to reflect that.
In this sculpture of a set of hands and a heart.
That's good.
She completes a tribute for the community that molded her.
Well, the sculpture is titled Holding Love, which is really what I think the Waukesha community is doing.
It's the final installation of a memorial for a tragic day in her community, when 6 people were killed and dozens more were injured on November 21st, 2021.
I live about a mile and a half from downtown Waukesha, and I wasn't at the parade, but I kept hearing sirens and sirens. And you know, when you live in Waukesha and you hear sirens, like something is going on.
To help the community recover, Carmen collected handmade clay tiles from people in the area also impacted by the violent event.
Through the Tile Project, I was able to meet most of the people that lost family members. Them telling me their story one-on-one really brings you so close to the experience that they have served as an inspiration.
It's now been 4 years since that life-altering day. A ceremony honoring the victims had Carmen's work at the center of it.
Please join me in a minute of silence for each and every victim of the Waukesha Christmas Parade tragedy.
As the community gathered to unveil this sculpture at Greedy Park, people sat in the same stillness where this artist says she did her work.
I did all of this piece in silence, thinking of the 6 people that left us.
As her own name suggests, she wants people to look at this art piece and take away something more.
And I just hope that people can reflect on their own peace and love and hold the people that we lost closer, and peacefulness, really.
Very nice.
Isn't that beautiful?
I love that. And that was Catherine Merck reporting.
Now let's take a look outside. This is a live look at our Edgewater Skycam. Look at the sunset tonight, and the power plant. It shows you how cold the air is outside
I'm chilly
tonight.
looking at that.
That is just a beautiful shot, though. See, that's the perk
Yeah.
of surviving the cold spell. So now over to Jacob, where the weather is going to feel a little bit better, but getting a little more active, too.
Yeah, we are going to see a chance of rain and maybe some snow by the middle of the week, but I'd say the bigger story is that warm up. And it's also kind of crazy to see that a lot of the lakes are already frozen. I remember 2 years ago, they didn't freeze till like the middle of January, and they're pretty much all frozen now. I've already seen plenty of ice fishers out there. And although temperatures are going to warm up, I don't expect to see many of the ice melting, because they're just going to barely get above freezing, and the overnight lows will still be easily below it. But in general, we are trending warmer. Chance of rain and snow for the middle of the week, but for the most part, we're actually not going to see a ton of precipitation, especially not a lot of snowfall going forward. But before I talk about all of that, I do want to mention that there is projected to be some patchy fog once we get closer to tomorrow morning. It's going to be a pretty brief fog, and it looks like it's going to happen actually a little bit after sunrise, around 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. across the region, but then it will clear up in the afternoon, and then the fog not going to be too much of a concern going forward. But just want to throw that out there for those of you that may notice it as you head to work tomorrow morning. But looking at the precipitation chances, the next couple of days will feature on and off clouds, and at points we'll see completely cloudy skies, other points we'll see sunshine. And when we do see those cloudy skies, there is a small chance that we could see some light rain, maybe some light freezing rain or light snow. We're just going to kind of be in that battleground zone with the temperatures where we could see some snow and could see some rainfall. And then our next big system will be late Wednesday night into early Thursday. Now, it looks like it's mostly going to be rainfall, but as temperatures cool down later in the day Thursday, we could see some of that snow move into the region, but we're certainly not expecting any accumulation right now. And this is also going to clear up completely once we get to Friday morning. The only concern from this would be the fact that temperatures are going to cool down for Friday, and that may cause a lot of the rainfall to sort of freeze over and create some travel impacts. But I do not expect to see massive travel headaches from this. And notice until then, very small, pretty much no chance of precipitation. And then after that, we're also not really going to see much precipitation either. And temperatures, although they'll bounce up and down a little bit for about 4 days, Thursday through Sunday, they are going to, for the most part, trend warmer. So 30s for highs Tuesday through Thursday, cooling down quite a bit for Friday, but then rising back up for Saturday and then dropping again for Sunday before we again rise a little bit for next week. And right now, next week, we are expecting to see those high temperatures in the 30s. And we also are going to see 30s for that Packers game later in the week. Saturday night in Chicago, temperatures there not looking too bad. I mean, it is December. Any game in Green Bay or Chicago will probably feature temperatures at the warmest at those levels. So it's good to see conditions not super bitterly cold. And as I mentioned, those 30s are going to continue beyond just the weekend and into next week. And for Christmas time, right now we are expecting those high temperatures right in the lower 30s with a few small chances of snowfall. But at this point in time, we're not expecting anything big for that time frame.
Thank you, Jacob. And when we come back, it's been $1 billion weekend for Zootopia 2 and the beginning of a major loss for the movie Ella McKay. Will Loper talks about the success and struggles of these two films in the Loper Report.
Well, an A-list cast, including Jamie Lee Curtis, Albert Brooks, and Woody Harrelson, are among the stars in the new comedy Ella McKay.
A lot of my friends have opinions about this movie. It opened in theaters this weekend. The question is it worth seeing? Here's Will Loper's review.
May Brady and Susan. Zootopia 2 is back on top of the box office, crossing the $1 billion mark worldwide to become the top-grossing film of 2025. Meanwhile, the newest film in theaters, Ella McKay, struggled in seventh, making just $1.2 million.
This is how it started.
Aunt Helen, I have a ridiculously serious problem, and you're the only one who can tell.
The film comes from director James L. Brooks, whose previous films include Broadcast News, Terms of Endearment, and As Good as It Gets.
You make me want to be a better man.
In Ella McKay, Emma Mackey plays the title character, who is a lieutenant governor of an unnamed state who ascends to the top seat after the sitting governor accepts a cabinet position.
You're 34. You just became governor of the state you were born and raised in.
Ella also has to contend with a political scandal, an eccentric aunt played by Jamie Lee Curtis, and a strained relationship with both her brother and father, played by Woody Harrelson.
We haven't seen each other in how long? You don't know either?
Eddie, you promised not to be yourself.
There's a comfort to the mid-level budget studio comedy that doesn't get made anymore, where all problems are neatly tied up in less than 2 hours.
Families, huh?
Absolutely.
Everyone surrounding Ella is an unlikable character to the point of making it not such an enjoyable watch.
Hi, I'm Helen McKay. Please excuse the way I talk or act.
Ella McKay isn't worth seeing in theaters, but check it out when it's streaming at home. For Live at 4, I'm Will Loper.
Well, we should do that every afternoon.
Do your friends concur?
They said it was not a good movie, but it kind of makes me want to see it more.
Just because they said that?
Yeah. Well, social media is not just for the youngsters. A growing number of older Americans are becoming what is affectionately called silver influencers.
They're posting and they're gaining followers of all ages. One TikTok account called Retirement House features a cast of creators in their 60s and 70s. Others are cooking up recipes and offering advice from dad. 76-year-old Sue Bell Robbins managed to crack an industry dominated by Gen Z. It started with this viral video when a much younger influencer asked the Palm Beach resident what she was wearing.
Brooks Brothers shirt, scarf, Hermes.
Two young girls said, we want to help you. We think you can be a star.
People who are older consumers on TikTok can see themselves reflected and they can feel inspired.
A study of TikTok creators age 60 and older with large followings found most posts related to defying age stereotypes, making light of age-related vulnerabilities, and just all-out calling out ageism.
I love those accounts.
You have to find some. Do you know the Sue Bell?
I know Sue Bell. I follow her. And then there's also this lady named Sally. The account is Lady Who Lounges. Sally and her daughter drive around. They go to restaurants, and she's not afraid to give her daughter her unwashed opinion.
Advice?
Yeah.
They make you laugh. I mean, I think it's great.
Yeah, that's why the Golden
They have a
Girls
lot
was
of wisdom.
popular.
Yeah, and they don't, they don't sugarcoat anything,
No.
which is refreshing.
It's entertaining.
So don't sugarcoat it for us. Just give it to us straight, Jacob. It's going to be better this week, right?
Yes, it absolutely will be. We'll have high temperatures in the 30s for a lot of the upcoming week. There will be a brief cool down Friday. Could see some wind chills below zero Friday morning, but then by the weekend it will be warmer. Next week is also expected to be warmer, and again, highs in the 30s, I know aren't necessarily warm, but when you have a high of around 5 to 8 degrees that we had the last 2 days and wind chills below zero, that is warm when you compare it to that. And it will feel that way once those temperatures do arrive tomorrow. I mean, obviously, when you step outside the last couple of days, I mean, it's just been very, very uncomfortable. And when you have a 30-degree day in October, when it's been warmer, it feels frigid. But these 30s are going to feel like 50s compared to where we are been. So let's say enjoy the weather. We're Wisconsin. 30s is outdoor weather for us.
That's the right perspective. Good for you. Thank you, Jacob. We'll be right back.
Coming up at 5, new developments are emerging in Wisconsin's case against those accused in a 2020 fake elector scheme. And the Platteville School District is revealing more about the cyber swatting incident that led to a fake threat that closed the whole district today. Thanks for watching Live at 4 today. We'll see you back here tomorrow, same time, same place. You can always find us streaming 24/7 on Channel 3000+. There's that beautiful shot again. News 3 Now at 5 starts right now.